railroaded, and I felt like I was Mike Munro hosting This Is Your Life in the 1990s. Oh my God! Oh my God! What?
Hey!
Nah, I've lost control. What's
happening, boys?
We've got another special guest. It's Matty Morris.
Oh, I really needed him this last time. Wow. Blake's an ABO.
Let me just quickly introduce. We were just talking about Matty Morris. He was the security guard on Nitro Circus for a number of years. Also done some Supercross and other events. More recently,
Afghanistan and
jumped out of planes, been shot at people. We won't go into the politics right now, but what we will go into is Matty Morris. Out of all the people you've looked after, and you've looked after Taylor Swift recently, who has been the biggest headache not named Travis Pastrana, do you think?
I think you've got Dennis on the podcast. Isn't it? The crazy thing is that wherever Blake was, there was trouble. Or something happened. If he wasn't sleeping.
Yeah, but it was like organised carnage and fun sometimes.
Yeah, no, it definitely was.
So Matty, your job on Nitro Circus, you're head of security. You look after the riders at the show when they go and do their signings and whatnot. You kind of you've got 5 sets of eyes to kind of analyze any trouble or anything. And I will talk about Saudi Arabia in a bit, but where you really earned your money was outside of the show day and maybe after the show and before the show, and you were an adult babysitter.
Yeah, 100%. It was more protecting them from themselves was the biggest thing.
Yeah, there probably would have been a few nights we would have got, well, me particularly would have got bashed if it wasn't for Matty. So, thanks, Matty.
Yeah, and one of those nights, it actually brings a bit of a memory back. I was inside. I think we just finished the show, and obviously this is when we had the tour buses as well. It would have been like 2015 in the US. Can't remember what location we were at. But the boys call me. I get a phone call. They're trying to get me on the radio. The radio's not working, so they call me. Matty, I need you to come up to the bus because there's this junkie trying to get into the tour bus. And obviously all there from X-Boys in there. I think Sinks is in there, Top Dog, Blake, a few others. And I get up there and this junkie's like full on just kicking in the door. And I swear to God, he probably just wanted to get to Bilko. Just wanted his autograph, really. That's what Bilko was saying anyway. And I remember tackling this guy and holding him down in the, into the gutter, and the cops come in and up taking him away. But that's just one scenario of the craziness that these, I guess, athletes were involved in on numerous occasions.
You talk about protecting them from themselves, like this industry. It's kind of famous or more infamous for kind of the hard lives living off the dirt bike, but there's also this other kind of softer, more sensitive side of Blake, of Bilko, and I think you guys have had a lot of kind of deep conversations about when Bilko's needed kind of not a shoulder to cry on, but someone to tell them how it is. And
I'm going through my divorce recently. Yeah, that was hard.
You're a security guard, but you're a friend first and foremost. Like who is Blake? Like we laugh about Dennis and Bilko being the pest, but who is Blake?
Well, the biggest thing with Bilko or Blake, I don't call him Bilko, it's Blake. Blake to me. The crazy thing with working with alongside you guys over the years is that, like you said, I've become more of especially when we, go out or whatever, become that bigger brother and more the dad role, or you were the dad and I played the bigger brother, where, sorting out situations and getting everything sorted. But also, like you said, there were times where a lot of these guys, you'd perform their show, just like any athlete or any star, you'd perform your show. But when you get off the bike or get back into the change room or back into your hotel room, you're back to being a normal person. And I think what a lot of people tend to forget is that these people are real people and they experience real things. And there was multiple times where not just Blake would come up to me, the multiple other athletes would and confide in me. And probably because, I offered that bigger brother solution or bigger brother words where I would, give it to them straight as well. I wouldn't cushion it the way, for example, you middle management or upper management would. Because I guess you guys know, it's a business at the end of the day, and the show needs to go on. So, yeah, there was definitely times where Blake would confide in a few things, and I've spent plenty of time at Blake's house, and that's one of the best things with Blake, just a
King Crab
gentleman.
Legs.
Yeah, I'd come to the US, stay at his place, and just the hospitality and just welcome me into his home. Anytime. And same, where he lives down in Melbourne, anytime I want to come down there and just stay, it's just one of those things.
Yeah, that's really nice. We went to Saudi Arabia with Nitro Circus, and that show's famous for us internally. There was a missile strike and you had to rush us out of the country real quick. And we heard we didn't even know that there was missiles, but you with your Middle East private security and military history, you knew it was missiles, and you knew we had to leave. But before we did that, Bilko was riding around like a lunatic in the Saudi Arabian headdress and gown.
Abu Dhabi. I wasn't allowed to go to Saudi.
That ruins that story then.
No, but I was riding around in the Burqa
I do remember it. It was Abu Dhabi because it was you, Street Bike Tommy, and maybe Jed Milden, I think it was. And you're all dressed in those white robes. And I'm just thinking, this is, a bunch of white dudes, or except for Jed, he probably passed as a Saudi
Middle East, yeah,
and Emirati. But I'm thinking, like, this is going to cause a bit of a ruckus. And, like, we're not in the nice parts of Abu Dhabi. We started going through these back streets, and it's just another one of those scenarios like, oh, God, going to end up in an orange jumpsuit getting their heads cut off. And, this is at the prime stage of where Bilko was Dennis and Street Bike Tommy was Street Bike Tommy. So there was no bars holding. They didn't care what they did. But definitely times where it definitely stands the hairs up on my arms. And, we and there was multiple scenarios, like you said, with Saudi Arabia. I know Blake wasn't there, but that was just another interesting time touring with Nitro Circus.
We'll save that for another time. Matty, you've been a great confidant and friend to me, and I'm going to have an episode with you down the road, so I don't want to talk too much about that. But, Bilko's journey on the dirt bike is kind of closer to the end than the start now. There's no disputing that. How proud are you of him as a friend, and particularly more recently, just kind of, dusting himself up every time he falls down? I think everyone says doesn't matter how many times you fall down as long as you get up after each time.
Yeah, and that's one of the crazy things about Blake. I've seen him stack his bike more than probably anyone. Busted his chin, his elbow, his arms, his legs, everything. And the crazy thing is he always got back up. And, I know for a fact for him now being at that, retirement part of the FMX life, it's similar to, my background coming from the military where you lose your identity. Once you get off that bike, you're going to lose your identity. You lose your tribe. But he has not only excelled in maintaining his life after the FMX bike, you put on a show. And I know it's direct competition to kind of what you guys are doing, but there was an excellent show down in Tasmania and it absolutely killed it. And it's really good to see how he's utilised that experience on a bike and then go back to, the management side now and continue on with the rest of his career, which is now moving into that side of the projects.
Yeah, the first one, it went as good as it went. There was a couple of side notes we won't get into that made it an absolute nightmare. So, kind of scared me for life. But yeah, we might do the JO Memorial Show still. I mean, I've got a ramp in the setup now, and if we combine that, we can. We've got 2 ramps, but like I said, I'm at the finish line. I think my front wheel's already over it, and just waiting for that right time to say farewell.
Yeah, well, I think it's a cruel sport. It really is. Like, you think about all the guys we know, and I actually did literally think about it before this podcast. I can only really think of like Levi Sherwood and Mike Mason, who really left this sport on their completely own terms. It's not a sport that it's so unforgiving. Like, even footballers, they know when they're going to retire for the most part, unless they're injury forced. Like, they always kind of have an expiry date. But this sport is like no other. And I think, we're very lucky to have someone like Matty Morris in all of our corners because, you talk about that losing your identity, but as long as you keep your circle and your friends, and like, I hadn't seen a couple of guys for a couple of years, and they were at my wedding last year because they were my friends, not because I toured with them. So it's kind of cool to, whilst Bilko's career is almost over, like, he's got a lot to look forward to, and I hope he gets to stay in the industry in some capacity.
Got to figure out how to do that because my main profession, apart from doing tricks, is acting like a cockhead. So, I'm really good at it. Really, really, really good at it, unfortunately. But all my mates are sick of it.
I'm glad Dennis is retired. So, Matty, we'll bid you goodbye, mate, and thank you for being such a great friend to Bilko and to me, mate.
Thanks, Blake.
Check out his Zero Limits podcast, the now number 67th ranked podcast in Australia.
And just to note on that, the first ever episode of the Zero Limits podcast was Blake Bilko Williams.
Yes.
You're the best.
Oh, God. Here we go. Well, thanks, Matty. You keep doing what you're doing, man. You're one of the greatest friends out there to a lot of people. So love you and love your work, mate. So
I appreciate it. I'll chat to you soon. I'll see you soon, Blake. I'm coming down to Melbourne soon.
That last text message from you is, I'll call you later that day. That was like a month ago.
Yeah, all right.
See you, Matty.
Catch
See you,
us.
mate. Love ya.